My name's Jean Collinson. I've been associated with the Guide Association since 1940, and I had to save up and get my own uniform. I bought it for the girl next door and it cost me 10 and sixpence, and for that I got the dress, the neckerchief and a hat. I was very fortunate to belong to a company which was very outdoor minded. So we camped every weekend. Our camping activities were quite adventurous. Our camp was a base and we used to go hiking every day. We would go rock climbing with instructors. We would go riding. One memorable camp was a Jubilee year, and one of my guides went to this big camp. I had a camp at Bramham Park because I did guiding in Boston Spa. The very first time I went to a guide camp was in Paisley Bridge, and we went in a van that time. There weren't many of us, and we went in a van. And of that occasion, we had a lieutenant who was doing the QM, cooking for us, and she really didn't know how to cook. And she made this rice pudding and she put the whole big packet of rice in the billy can. So the rice came bubbling over the top and we're absolutely stuffed with rice. So we put what was left over a wall where there were some pigs. And not long after that, the pigs were stuffed with rice as well and just lay going. But that's my first memory of that camp. It was exciting. It was really exciting. Everybody was all keyed up to go. So I think camp's always been a very exciting part of guiding, from trekking with it on your tent on your back, to which I've done frequently with guides, to go into a big international camp with a group of friends. Friendship is very important in guiding. I have friends that I've known since I was a teenager. Some of the guiders who are in the county now were my Brownies, my guides. Some of my best friends were actually in my Brownie pack. The guiding program's changed dramatically, but the guiding program is what you make of it. You don't have to follow the written work, you can extend it and make life interesting. Children are not going to have the same experiences as we did because they're too protected. There's no way they could sit in a tree like they did in Bramham Park when a picture was taken. I would have had to have written permission from every parent for them to get off the ground. So the young children now are missing out quite a lot. So I think it's up to guiding to give them some kind of responsibility for themselves, looking after themselves, looking after other people, and not be bound too much by regulations. And just to enjoy every single day of their life. I'm very fortunate to have been involved in Boston Spa Guides for 40 years. And because I lived with the first guider, Audrey Andrews, who kept everything, I continued to keep everything. And it's wonderful now that we've got the logbook, which is written the first camp, sale of work at Spofforth, and the first hike, and lots of photographs that have been little photographs and some paintings. Anne Beryl, who is on the right of the photograph, is the author of this when she was a child, and she died not many years ago, and she'd been involved with our company as an adult leader as well. The centre person is Audrey Andrews, who was the first captain in Boston Spa, and whose mother is photographed with the chief scout when he opened the Scout and Guide Hall, Robert Baden-Powell. And that's the first guider's mother, who was a president. That's 1921. And Boston Spa Guides followed as soon as Audrey was old enough in 1924. I promise on my honour to do my best, to do my duty to God and the Queen, to help other people at all times and to obey the guide law.
Judith Emsley, and I joined Brownies when I was 7. My mum started the Brownie Pack because there were a lot of wild little girls in the church and she thought they ought to be tamed. I didn't realise what it was going to do for me. I worked most of my guiding in Eden, except when I nipped off abroad to do some training things. But it happened, and I celebrated the 60th anniversary as one of the original Brownies. Well, I joined because, I didn't want to join. I thought they were a bit silly at first. And then I saw Mum going off with her uniform and thought, I might be missing something. So I think I joined because I thought I might be missing out. And I would have missed out if I hadn't joined, because I've had all sorts of experiences that I'd never have had apart from guiding. I eventually went on and did some training and been all over the world doing that. So that was what guiding's done for me. And all the memories I've got are things that happened when I was a guide. You know, I enjoyed all the things that we did, which is it sounds limited from when you compare it with what guides can do now, but it was still a good adventure for us. We got our independence. We were able to go out on our own without anybody worrying that somebody was going to abduct us, because it was safe to do that then. And we went and did all sorts of things that girls can't do now. Well, we went off on our own for the whole day, just a patrol of us, 12, 13-year-olds, and nobody worried about us. We went and lit our fires and cooked our lunch and explored places we'd not been to and jumped on buses and went somewhere and got ourselves lost. That's what we could do. The campfire at Harewood coronation year was probably the first time I'd ever realised I was belonging to something a bit bigger than just guiding in Eden. And we went to Harewood House. The Princess Royal was our president at the time and was obviously a local figure, but somebody that we, royalty we saw. And I remember sitting there enjoying the songs. We'd had to learn them all beforehand and feeling, this was great. And then afterwards, we jumped on our bus and went, but I was aware of people picking litter up, and Harewood House saying how wonderful it was that guides had been and there was nothing left. I believe that guiding is as important now as it always has been, in that it teaches youngsters to have a commitment, to work together, to take opportunities, to stand on their own feet and make their own decisions. And that is what I believe guiding's about. And I've done all my guiding because I believe that. That is important. And still is. Because guiding is still giving youngsters those values through a different programme from 1910, but it's doing the same job. Or it should be if it's guiding.
Hello, I'm Ruth. I made my promise as a Brownie in 1953 in Leeds, and I'm still a guide leader. My older sister was a Brownie. Apparently she didn't start until she was 8, and you could start when you were 7, but they didn't know about it particularly, and the Brown Owl went round and found these youngsters. And then I wanted to be a Brownie instantly. The very first meeting I went to, we did ball throwing practice, and I was useless at it, but being an obstinate person, I was determined to go next week, and I just love it. There was always something new, always something challenging. I loved the out of doors, and there was a lot in guiding that wasn't in school in those days. Yes, I loved the camping and, building fires and sleeping outside, putting up tents. It was great, yes. My first uniform as a Brownie was the brown dress, which got shorter and shorter and your knees got colder and colder. And then as a guide, it was a skirt and a blouse that tucked in, pockets on the chest, which was sometimes quite embarrassing, and all the badges down the sleeves. Then it changed and became, the blouse was outside the skirt, which made it more relaxing, and the pockets lower down. And then eventually it's become this, with the Jeff Banks era, became far more casual and is now known more as guide wear, with lots of choice for the youngsters, so that They can wear any of many tops, the guides, and there's no official trousers, skirts anymore. So it's far more casual and far more easy wear, and it changes continually. There's just a new thing being brought out simply because the youngsters said that's the fashion nowadays.
This was the dedication service for our county standard, which was in Ripon Cathedral on October the 11th, 1952. And these are the signatures of the people who were there. This is the signature of Princess Mary. This is the picture of the county standard, a painting of the county standard. And this is Ripon Cathedral. And these are the people who carried the standard and escorted it.
I was present at the county standard changeover in Ripon Cathedral in 1952. These services at the cathedrals are absolutely wonderful events. The whole cathedral was filled with guide and guiders. The singing was magnificent. It was a very impressive ceremonial, and I was particularly proud because the guider who was carrying the Princess Royal standard had been a member of the First Boss and Spar since the company was founded in 24, and she had always been connected with us and always been in guiding. So it was particularly significant and wonderful watching her walking down the aisle carrying the princess's standard. It's quite emotional. It's quite sad that one county commissioner whom you've admired and worked with changes, but you know that the next one's going to be just as good, but you just have to get to know her quickly. And it happens every so many years, so over the period you get to know many people, and everybody changes something a little bit, changes the way things are done, improves it, or communications are different. But it's always a challenge for the new county commissioner to keep up the standard that the previous one has set and make her own mark. Now, for the handover, the county chairman that's in office takes the standard from the bearer and hands it to the new county commissioner, who makes a dedication to carry on the work of guiding then. I don't know what words are used or anything like that. And then she gives it to the bearer again, so that the changeover of commissioners is done in a very, very significant way. Much more ceremonial took place in guiding then than does now. The county standard is very symbolic because each of the embroidered symbols represents an area in Yorkshire. The centre one here is a Roman soldier which represented Tadcaster division. This photograph depicts them, the standard bearers and the Princess Royal coming out of the cathedral. The standard bearer is Anne Beryl, who was a former First Boss and Spar guide. The escort is Miss Penn, I can't remember the other name. The Princess Royal is behind her with her golden cords and her badges, looking very smart. Next to her, escorting her, is Miss Anne Shepherd, who was our county commissioner. Behind them there's a Union flag. The guider there is Miss Thea Chapman, who was the Yorkshire Central County Secretary. And then all along the edge were guides holding their company flags. They'd have a flag with the world badge on and the name of their guide company underneath it. Well, the Princess Royal is Princess Mary, so she was the King's sister. She was our president and came to many things, and always had a lady in waiting with her, or two ladies in waiting. She came sometimes dressed in all her number one uniform, sometimes more casually. Much more ceremonial took place in guiding then than does now. And there's a discipline about ceremonial. There's an order to it, and everybody respects that order. And we all just felt emotionally, and the whole of our being was involved in that ceremony.
Gillian Ainsley, I'm County Commissioner for Girl Guiding Leeds. Well, it means that I'm responsible for all the Brownies, guides, rainbows, leaders, Trefoil Guild in Girl Guiding Leeds in the Leeds metropolitan area. It's voluntary and we have about 6,500 members in Girl Guiding Leeds. Yes, we're constantly growing. We're trying to encourage, obviously, new members all of the time, whether it's adults as volunteers or children to join the sections. We're constantly, growing. The earliest recollection we have in Leeds is actually 1910. We have the first Leeds Guide unit was actually registered in 1910. I was a Brownie at 7, and then when I was 10 I became a guide. At 14 I became a ranger, and then when I was 16 I became a young leader, and then at 18 I became a guider, a guide unit, and I've been a guider of the same guide unit ever since. I enjoy seeing the girls grow and them trying new things and becoming more confident, and they come in at 10 and they're still little girls, and they go out as young women at 14 years old and far more confident and to get out into the world and enjoy themselves. We're very modern in our camping. We sometimes we use modern tents, and we sometimes go indoors, sometimes we're out of doors, sometimes we're sleeping under the stars, just anything the girls want to do. We're always girl led, so whatever the girls choose is what the leaders try to arrange for the girls to be able to take part in. Everybody is welcome. We have units in inner city areas in Leeds, and everybody is welcome. We have guiders obviously from the diverse communities, and we encourage as many people to join as possible.
Wow.
I'd like to, for Girl Guiding in the future, I'd like to see us grow, continue to grow, to give the girls as much opportunity as we possibly can, to continue to be as relevant to today's girls as we possibly can, to continue to be a girl-only space, to allow the girls to grow and develop without the influence of boys.
I promise that I will do my best to love my God, to serve my Queen and my country, to help other people and to keep the guide law.